Hey everybody, this is Damien DeNoble. Welcome to another H-2B visa update. This is March 10th, about 12:43 p.m. on a Monday. The cap was hit, even though you won't see the announcement. Okay, so if we look at the announcement page, still no count. But I'm tracking these USCIS receipts as they come in from different people. And the last receipts I saw that came back were those for cases filed on March 4th, which would have been last Tuesday. No other receipts came in. We're talking about premium receipts, which are e-receipts sent by email. So March 4th was the cap. Now, is everyone who came in on March 4th, did they make it under a cap or not? I'm not sure because USCIS in the past has said they might sometimes run a lottery for the last day if the number of applications on the last day of the cap came in and like way overshot even the float. And then USCIS can, in theory, pull a lottery. I've never seen it, but maybe they do it here, and they would announce it after the fact. But anyway, anybody coming in March 4th, later than March 4th, so let's say March 5th, let's say you got your stuff in on Wednesday, probably didn't make it under the cap. And again, I'm going by receipts here. Now, I would love to see the cap be March 5th or March 6th, but based on receipt returns, I think it would be March 4th. What does that mean? So what the immediate repercussion of that is that we know when the returning worker allotment will be released. It's supposed to, by regulation, be released 15 days after the cap is reached. I expect we're going to get a cap update early this week, which will then confirm that March 19th would be the cap when the returning worker numbers are released. What does that mean? That means that the first day that returning worker numbers are released, that's where you can file for returning workers. If you try to file for them before then, your application will be returned to you. It will be rejected for processing and you'll have to file again. So be aware, you can't just file for returning workers right away. You have to wait for them to be released. That's different though, if you're filing for Central American workers or cap exempt workers, you can keep on filing those. The Central American allotment was already released in October, so if you have Central American workers that you're looking for, you can keep filing those. If you have returning workers from any other country besides those in the Central American allotment, you have to wait until March 19th. Now, if you are filing for workers who are on H-2Bs already in the country transferring to you from another employer, those are cap exempt. You can keep filing those as you will. So that's really the update for now. Hopefully, everybody had a good season. This was like the longest cap season in probably half a decade because of the slower processing, but also, we'll check this and kind of post filing analysis. It seems like a lot of companies took advantage of the March 1st start dates. So a lot of landscaping companies pulled back, and there were a larger number of NODs for at least a couple of mystery filers. If you're following this channel, there was at least one mystery filer who filed something like 400 applications. And I think received a lot of NODs, which might have lowered the final number of applications from Group A that got approved. For the first time in a while, I saw Group C's getting certified and getting in under the cap. So again, if you're joining us, the cap was probably hit March 4th. This is based on e-receipts that I have received, others have received. We didn't see any for March 5th or 6th. And if the cap was hit on March 4th, we won't know until USCIS releases their official announcement. Right now, their website, as you can see, is not updated. That means that H-2B returning workers, that new allocation where you get that additional number of workers you can apply for, that will be released March 19th. So you can't apply for those until that final release day. That being said, let's wait for the final USCIS update to get the final numbers. So tentatively March 19th. I'm just kind of previewing this for you. If it ends up being something else, great. That means that, the cap went longer than we thought. If you're filing for Central American workers, again, just to reiterate, you can file for those right away because that allocation was already released in November 2024. They released all the Central American allocation at once. And if you're applying for workers who are cap exempt, so workers on the H-2B program in the US already who are transferring to you from another employer, then you can just file right away also. Okay, but if you are filing for new workers or an H-2B workers right now, whether they're named or unnamed, just know those applications will get returned because the cap was probably reached March 4th. And if you want returning workers, you're going to have to wait until the returning worker window opens, which by regulation is 15 days from when the cap is announced. All right, that's it. If there are no questions, I'm going to go. You're going to get on with this Monday, which here on the East Coast in Connecticut at least is beautiful. Feels like the first spring day. I really appreciate you guys all watching, and we'll talk soon. Okay, you can leave comments and I'll respond to them because the channel is not much smaller than it used to be since we switched to an H2B only channel. So feel free to ask questions. I'll respond to the ones that I can. If they're too complicated, if they're like really specific, I probably won't answer. And again, I'm an employer side guy. So if you're an H2B visa applicant looking for information, there's limited stuff I can tell you. Go find a recruiting company, right? That can help you out. Okay. Would March 19th be 15 days after the cap was reached? Hi, Yvette. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So that's what I'm saying. March 19th is probably that H2B day after the cap will be met. That's right. Now, let's just wait. Again, I am just giving you a prediction. Let's just wait until USCIS gives us the official number. And Yvette, it's good to see you again. I feel like, yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any questions? Going once? Okay, thank you. Davian has one. If an employer filed February for returning workers, what does that mean? If they filed February 15th for returning workers, that would be, they were probably filing for returning workers under the first allocation for the October start date. And they could have gotten under the cap because I think the returning worker cap was met. Let me see. Returning worker cap was met. Oh, no, they wouldn't have made it. I don't know why they would have filed for returning workers. If they were filing for unnamed workers, Davian, on February 15th, that wouldn't work because we met the cap for the first half on January 7th. And then maybe they're filing for workers that are already in the US and transferring, but if they file for February 15th for returning workers, unless those workers were from Central America or like Colombia, Ecuador, Costa Rica, one of the countries on an additional allotment, that would probably get returned. It wouldn't work. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Going once? Type fast. You can say, hey, I got a question. Just wait. Going twice? Anybody else? Going 3 times? All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll be back. If you do have some additional questions, just leave them in the comments. I'm very happy to answer any questions, and we'll talk soon. Thanks so much.